Shalom, shalom, peace, peace. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Jadiel from the Fourth Angels Learning Center. And today is going to be a special topic because it pertains to the name of this ministry, Fourth Angels Learning Center. So we've been getting this question a lot, and I kind of been putting it off because of a lot of other topics on righteousness and different topics that's kind of been heavy on a lot of people's minds, whether it be a lot of certain questions trending, topics trending. So I wanted to address those things first, primarily. But then we got another question this week about what does the Fourth Angels Learning Center mean? You can check it on the comments of the videos. You'll see it periodically. So I feel like it's necessary to break this down. So the Fourth Angels Learning Center. What is the fourth angel according to scripture? So before I get started, if the Fourth Angels Learning Center have been a blessing to you, please consider supporting us at 4alc.com. You can also support us on Cash App, $4ALC Bless. That's 4ALC BLESS. Please share this video so others may be able to know and understand what the fourth angel's message is. And this is kind of the message I surround everything, every study that I've ever given. This is usually, all of these elements are usually surrounded. Everything that I've said is surrounded by these elements, which we're about to talk about today. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Get notifications for more videos and more topics, more discussions, more classes, okay? So let's get right into it. So fourth angel's message, the fourth angel actually comes from Revelation 18. And I know the question, if there's a fourth angel, that means that there's three other angels, right? So we're gonna discuss those angels as well. So Revelation 18 says this, and I'm going to show why this is the fourth angel. It gives us a number, but I'll show you exactly where that number, which indicates what number angel it is. Angel means messenger. So it's an emphasis on messenger. The Hebrew word for angel is malak or malakim. And it's an emphasis on a message or giving a message, right? And look at what it says. Revelation 18 says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened by his glory. He cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchandise of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues, because her sins have reached unto heaven, and Elohim have remembered her iniquities. Okay, so from verse 1 to verse 5 is this emphasis on everything that I do. And I want to first go over the three angels, which leads up to the fourth angel, because you can clearly see that this is a intense final warning to what's going on this earth. But first, let's go to Revelation 14. I'm going to also give you an indication of what time frame this is located in. It says here in verse 1, it says, I looked, and lo, Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. We know that that's going to be happening in the near future, very near, very soon, having his father's name in their forehead. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. Follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb, and in their mouth is found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne. So it's interesting how in verse 5, it talks about what's in their mouth being found with no guile, and then it talks about these messages, right? These messages from these messengers. So I believe that the 144,000 that is chosen is going to be basically empowered to go and deliver a message in these last days, which encompasses everything that you need to understand to make your choice to follow Yah and to do it effectively, to make the correct choices effectively. So check out this, right? I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven. This is the first angel, and I'm going to tell you why it's the first one. It says, I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven. And then right here it says, and there followed another angel. And then right here in verse 9, it says, the third angel. So we see that these three angels, 1, 2, 3, even though it says I saw another angel, this is an emphasis on the first. This is an emphasis on the one that's right after, the second. And then this is the emphasis on the third angel. And then we're going to go and see why the other angel is the fourth one. Let's check this out. But let's break down the first angel. It says, I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. So why in 144,000 at the end of history, Earth's history, there's going to be the everlasting good news being preached. If you haven't checked it out, go check out the 3-part series, The Good News. It definitely breaks down why it's referred to as the good news. Go check that out. So it says here that this everlasting gospel has to be preached on the earth. So all this preaching and all this thing that's happening right now is where people have said that this has been happening for years, is actually not happening. To the point where in the last days, the 144,000 would have to re-preach this good news accurately to the whole earth, to them that dwell on the earth, to every nation, every family, every language, every people. Let's continue. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim. This is a declaration telling them what needs to be done. Fear Elohim. Give glory to him. I want to focus on this. This is the main focus of this first message. To give glory to Yah. That word glory also means esteem, to elevate him according to who he is, what he has done, what he has said to us. And we glory in reflecting that same image. But this is a declaration. You need to fear Elohim. You need to give glory to him because the hour of his judgment is come. This is ending. Earth's history is ending. Worship him that made heaven and earth, sea, and the fountains of water. And I like this emphasis on worship and the statement that is made, because the statement talks about the glory. Give glory to him. And then it says, worship him that made it. So give glory to him. How do we give glory to Yah? This is the first message. How do we give glory to Yah? Well, if glory is esteem, then what is his glory? What's the emphasis of his glory? Let's take a look at this real quick. Psalms chapter 97. Psalms chapter 97, looking at verse 6. Look at what it says. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. So how do we see Yah's glory? We look at the heavens. The heavens declare his righteousness. Why is the heavens declaring his righteousness? because everything that it's doing, it's showing what Yah said for it to do. In other words, the heavens is obeying Yah's instructions. The way that the sun moves, the way that the moon moves, the way that the waters go out and come back according to his decree. Everything is according to the way that Yah said it. And it is his righteousness when we see everything going according to what he said. And when everything goes according to what he said, then Yah is glorified. The people can see his glory. Let's look at a few more verses. Isaiah chapter 62, looking at verse 2. It says, the nations shall see your righteousness, and all the kings your glory. So seeing righteousness is seeing glory. You shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahuwah shall name. So seeing righteousness is seeing glory. It says, you shall also be a crown of glory in the hand of Yahuwah. So you shall be a crown of glory in the hands of Yahuwah, and a royal diadem in the hand of your Elohim. So Yahuwah possesses this glory. You are a part of that by manifesting his righteousness. So what is righteousness according to scripture? Righteousness in Isaiah, let's stick with Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 7. It says, hearken unto me, you that know righteousness, the people whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their reviling. So it says, you that know righteousness, the people in whose heart my law is. So the law being inside of Yah's people is what manifests righteousness. And as it manifests righteousness, the world sees Yah's glory as Yah's people manifest the law that is written on their hearts. Let's continue. Isaiah 42, verse 21. Look at what it says. Yahuwah is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. So it says, for his righteousness' sake, he will magnify the law and make it honorable. Interesting enough is that the more people receives his laws, the more people manifest his glory. And the more times that he manifests his glory is the more that his law will be magnified. The more people manifest in his glory is the more that his law will become magnified for his righteousness' sake. So very important for us to understand the correlation between the law, righteousness, and his glory. Because how would people see his glory? People will have to recognize his glory as well. So let's look at that. Messiah mentioned that people were going to recognize Yah's glory by looking at you. Not only were they going to recognize it, but they were going to glorify him. They were going to esteem him. Let's look at Matthew chapter 5. We all know this verse. We all seen this verse before. Verse 16, it says, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So let your light shine. So what light is that? Is it giving food to the homeless? What is it that people are going to see and recognize that they should glorify Yah? They're going to see Yah's instruction. When they see you performing Yah's works, the works of the scriptures, the works of his law, of his righteousness, they will see it, recognize it, because you were going to tell them, of course, and then they're going to glorify their Father because you are directing them. You are showing them where this is coming from. This comes from Deuteronomy. If you look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, it says the same thing. Look at what it says in verse 6. It says, keep therefore and do them. Let's go to verse 5. It says, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah have commanded me, that you should do in the land where you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding. Where? In the sight of the nations. So men may see your works, you keeping the statutes and judgments, you possessing wisdom and understanding. It says, in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes. So it's not just them looking at you. is also them asking you, why are you doing that? And then you telling them the wisdom and the understanding that you're receiving from the statutes and judgments. Look at what it says, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Look at this. For what nation is there so great who have Elohim so near unto them, as Yahuwah our Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for? For what nation is so great who have Elohim so near unto them? So they glorify Yah after they see the wisdom and understanding in their sight, after they hear the statutes and judgments by his people, then they recognize the one who gave them these statutes and judgments, the one that gave them the wisdom and understanding. This is what it means to glorify Yah. So if it says, fear him, right? Revelation chapter 4. If it says, fear Elohim, that's an acknowledgement of Elohim. Give glory to him. Give recognition. Esteem him as the one who has wisdom, as the one that created all things. Then it says, worship him that made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and the fountains of water. And there is a command that is an emphasis on that submission. The emphasis on the submission that we fear him and that we esteem him as our Elohim. And we know that that is the Shabbat. Let's go to the prophet Ezekiel. The prophet Ezekiel chapter 20, looking at verse 12, it says, moreover, I gave them my Shabbats to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahuwah that sanctifies them. I am the one that sanctifies them. And the Shabbat indicates that because they submit to my commandments. Let's look down, further down in verse 20. Verse 19 and 20, it says, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, walk in my statutes, keep my judgments and do them, hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Again, so the Shabbat is an emphasis. And why is it an emphasis? Why is Shabbat the emphasis? Let's go to the Shabbat command in Exodus 20. Let's look at verse 11. It says, for in 6 days, Yahuwah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So what is the first angel referred to here? Fear Yah, give glory to him, which we saw that the glory is his righteousness and that the righteousness is his law. For the hour of his judgment is come, and it says, worship him that made heaven, the earth, sea, and the fountains of water. These are statements that comes right out of the sign of the Shabbat, the sign that shows that he is esteemed as our Elohim. So this is a restoration of the law, a restoration of his righteousness, a restoration of glory. So this is why it says, give glory to him. It's a declaration. You need to do this. Give glory to him. Fear Elohim. Worship him. Keep his commandments. He's the one that gives you these commandments. He's the one that you esteem. If you esteem him, keep his word. This is the first angel, a restoration of the law, a restoration of the covenant, a restoration of the relationship. So if all of those things is in the first angel, what's the second angel, second messenger's message? It says, verse 8, and therefore there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city. And then it says, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. In scripture, what does a nation indicate? A nation indicate a group of people. It doesn't indicate empires. It doesn't indicate rulers. It indicates a group of people. Most of the time, these nations had different religious worship. They had different gods, different mighty ones. So if the first message is saying a restoration of the fear of Elohim, a restoration of the glory of Elohim, and the restoration of the worship. So the fear is the acknowledgement of one true Elohim. The glory is the restoration of his righteousness and his law. And the worship is the submission to everything that proceeds out of his mouth, including the Shabbat, as a sign that he is our Elohim. So the second message is countering their disagreement, countering the world's rejection. So because the world has rejected this truth, the world has become one, just as how Babylon was one in Genesis, in the book of Genesis. Now Babylon is becoming one in regards to the rejection of the truth. But it mentions that the great city made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. So all these religious groups that rejected the first angel, that rejected fearing the one true Elohim, that rejected the righteousness and the law of Elohim, that rejected the Shabbat and the worship of the true Elohim, have now accepted a false view, that they are now becoming drunk in their wicked ideas, in their false ideas. Now, the third angel comes into play after they have rejected the truth. Now there's a third angel that indicates something very important, especially at this time today. It says, if any man worship the beast and his image. Where do we find this? In the previous chapter, Revelation 13, it speaks all about the beast and his image, which we will have a video on later on. So it says, and if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in their forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Smoke of his torment shall ascend up forever and ever, and they shall have no rest day and night, who worship the beast and his image, whosoever receives the mark of his name. So we see this in Revelation 13 occurring at our time now, this last days period. We're going to see this being manifested. So these three messages are a declaration for the people, a warning for the people to wake up. Restore who Elohim is, restore the righteousness and the law, and restore the worship and the true submission to his word. Or you will join Babylon and you will become drunk and you will receive the mark. These are the three angels' messages. And this says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep what? The commandments of Elohim and have the faith of Yahushua. This is the elements, the key elements that's located in the first angel. The commandments, the glory, give glory to him. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven saying, right, blessed are the dead which die in Yahuwah from this point on, saith the Ruach, the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Meaning that everybody during this time that's preaching this final message will be remembered, and what they have done in the preaching and the teaching of this truth will continue to move forward until the end. Until what end? The harvest of the earth. Right after this message is preached, we have the harvest. We have the Son of Man. I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one that sat, one like the Son of Man, having his head a golden crown and a sharp sickle. What is this an emphasis of? Harvesting. Another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice of him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle, reap, for the time is come for you to reap, for the harvest is ripe. So this is another angel mentioned here about thrusting in the sickle and separating Yah's people from the field. This is what happens when you begin your harvest. There's two aspects of harvest. Harvest means to cut, and harvest also means to gather. So there's a first aspect where the sickle cuts and separates. You can go check out our Shavuot, our Feast of Harvest study. It covers this whole idea of cutting. And then there's this gathering time period, which we know that the ingathering is an emphasis on tabernacles. So at this part, he has the sickle. So he's cutting and separating everyone after these messages are given. And another angel is crying, saying, cut and separate these people. And what does it mean? To cut and separate is to cut and call out, to separate. And I want to show you an emphasis on this verse 15, on this in Revelation 18, which we started with in the very beginning. Why is this the fourth angel? Because it's simply a magnifying of those three angels for this final warning that is given today. But it's a slightly different, and I want you guys to catch the difference. Verse 1, remember, verse 1 to 5 in Revelation 18. Says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, right? Thrust in your sickle, having great power, which is the Spirit, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Now, here's one interesting aspect. In Revelation 14, verse 6, it tells us that it's a declaration. The angel is telling you to give glory to him. But Revelation 18 is saying that the earth is lightened by his glory. That means that his people are truly restoring and magnifying the glory, which is his righteousness, which is manifested by the law in his people. So the law is fully restored to the point where his people are demonstrating righteousness and lighting up the earth with his glory. The earth is able to see Yah's people manifest Yah's righteousness on his earth by walking according to his law. It is no longer a declaration. It is now a manifestation with great power right here. Great power. So this is slightly different. This is a magnifying. Before he was warning people, fear him, give glory to him, worship him. Now it's power has been given to you, and you are restoring all of these things on the earth, and all of the earth is witnessing the glory of Yah. Verse 2, he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen. We remember that's the second angel's message. But check out the difference. It says, is become the habitation of devils. Because before it says the nations were drunk. Now it says that now it's the home of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean bird. We're not done yet. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication, right? We read that in Revelation 14, but look at what else is going on. Not only are these religious groups drunk with the wine of fornication, look what it says. The kings of the earth, the government officials, the government leaders have committed fornication with her. So not only are these religious groups being confused and polluted, and they're rejecting Yah's covenant and truth and law by her, but now the kings of the earth are committing fornication with her as well. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All the ways that her, which I believe is, we're going to touch on that later on, is a religious political group called the Roman Catholic Church. I believe that the Roman Catholic Church is waxing rich through the abundance of her delicacies. The way that Rome executes their authority and power and brainwashing and confusion and manipulation is what the kings of the earth are learning from. Even in a political realm, if you do not have the power over the thinking, the mind, the beliefs of the people, you're going to get rebellion. Even if it's from atheists, if it's from whoever, you will receive rebellion. But if you control the mind, if you control the religious belief, if you make them drunk in believing these wicked ways, then you can have complete control. So this is why the kings of the earth are committing fornication with her. And this is why the abundance of her delicacies is making them rich. They're receiving methods and different ways of controlling by utilizing Christianity, by utilizing Catholicism to show that, yeah, they believe in God too. So this is a magnification of what's going on before. We not only are teaching that these religious groups are fallen, but we are now teaching that these governments have joined themselves with this corrupt religious group and her daughters. Verse 4, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Very important, that you be not partakers of her sins, that you receive not her plagues. Now remember, Revelation 14 says those who receive the mark of the beast will receive the plagues. So this is an indicator of the mark of the beast. But there's this one last warning saying, come out of her, my people. Come out of these religious political organizations. Don't partake in the sins. Don't partake in the judgment that they will be receiving as well. And there's many different elements that we teach people to come out is by teaching people righteousness, teaching people to glorify him in their righteous walk by keeping the law, by believing in Yah and allowing him to put his law in your hearts. This is how we call people out. Now, remember, people leaving physically from these organizations and walking with you does not mean that they have come out. They have to submit their heart and their mind to Yah. This is how they truly come out of Babylon. This is how they truly won't partake in their sins. It says her sins have reached into heaven and Elohim have remembered her iniquities. So this is the whole reason why we teach these elements here. This is the whole reason why we teach, why we're called the Fourth Angels Learning Center, is because we are a learning center, a media learning center, helping everyone to magnify with power the understanding or the lifestyle that Yah calls us to have, which is to walk in righteousness, to glorify him. And if you walk in righteousness to glorify him, you will lighten the earth with his glory. You will let your light shine in this earth. We also warn people about Babylon and the confusions of these different doctrines, correcting the wine or the confusing aspect of these, what people teach, which is causing people to become drunk, people rejecting the truth because they believe a lie. So what we do here is we try to teach against false doctrine, not against people, but against false doctrines. And we execute truth. We also debunk lies, just so that way we can deliver our people out of this Babylonian mindset, this confusion, so people can come out of her. You don't just say, hey, come out of these religious organizations. You teach people the difference. You teach people what it is to glorify Yah so they can be attracted to the light rather than dwell in the darkness. We also manifest the true understanding of what prophecies teach about what these governments are going to do, rather than every single time the government do something, now there's another, somebody's going to do this law, somebody's going to do that law, they're going to come kill us, this nation is going to, who cares? Who cares? What we need to do is come out of her. What we need to do is not partake in their sins, because we are clear. All the kings have fornicated with her, and they are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So what are we waiting for? It's going to happen. We need to repent. We need to come out. So this is our focus here at Fourth Angels Learning Center. And I hope that this was clear. And I hope that you'll consider partnering and blessing and pushing our efforts forward with your support. And I hope that this was a blessing for you guys. Any questions, please feel free to send it to us. This is our job. This is what we're here for. Shalom. Yah bless. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.